Hi there. In this 6th video in the Basics series, I'm going to show you how to resize images by both using the crop tool and by actually resizing the image directly. Now, if you're using a modern digital camera, be it a point and shoot or a digital SLR, it's going to save the file size as a pretty big file size because the camera has a pretty big sensor. It stores lots of megapixels. I have actually a pretty old camera and it's still a very big file size. Like this one, for example, is about 3000 pixels by 2000 pixels. And that's good for the full size. But if you wanted to actually, say, email this photo or put it on a website, that might be way too big. Both because it's physically way too big for the monitor, and two, the file size is big, so it would take a long time to load or a long time to send the email. And there's two main ways to get around that: cropping and resizing. So let me show you. They're both different, but I can show you how each one works. Here I've already brought in a photo into Photoshop. It's one of the wood headphone stands that my dad actually makes. He makes them and I photograph them. Trust me, they're beautiful. Wow, I love this. Now this is my raw file. All I've done is an auto contrast to it. Sadly, you can actually see the paper that I'm using, the paper weights, and even off to the right, the light. And I don't want to see any of that. I just want to see the headphone stand with a white background. So how do I get rid of all this extra stuff around the side? Aha, I crop the image. Okay, how do you do that? Well, you select the crop tool. It's this strange square tool here. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to draw out a box. Everything inside the box will be kept. So let me show you how that works. I find a corner that I want, pick a corner, and I click and drag. So I click and drag, and I release the mouse button. I'm a little close to this side, so I'm just going to move it in a bit. And I want it to be centered. This is my center dot, and I want that to be in the center of the headphone stand. So I move the other side over to center it. Okay, and I'm just going to trim up the bottoms a bit. Make it closer, top just a tiny bit. There, I like that. Now, if I apply this crop, it's going to keep just whatever is in the box. And to do that, you can just click, double click within the box. So let me do that. I'm going to double click, and voila, it cropped the image. It got rid of everything around the edge. Nice. And if I look at my file size, it's about 1770 by about 1730 pixels. Better, but that's still a very, very big file size. If, say for example, I wanted to use this on a website, I would actually use this as the full-size image. But I don't want that to be the first image they see. I want them to see a smaller version, and then perhaps if they click on it, it'll bring them to the full-size image. So I would want to actually save this as a full-size image. So I would do File, Save As, and I'm going to name it. Maybe I'll put it as 30A, just whatever naming scheme you want to use. Okay, I'm going to save it. Brings up my options. I click OK. And there, the full-size image is now saved. Good. But now I have to make a smaller size version, either as a thumbnail or perhaps if I wanted to email it. How would you do that? Well, it's very simple. You just resize the image. And to do that, you go to Image, and then you go down to Image Size. Okay. And it brings up this dialog box. And basically what you have is the width of the picture and the height of the picture. And you can see at the moment these two are linked. So whatever I do to one, either the width or the height, it's going to change the other to keep the same pixel ratio between the width and the height, which is very good. That prevents artifacting, and so the image always looks good. If you wanted to, say, email this to somebody, maybe you would do a width of 800 pixels, and that would be a very good size. I know already from my website, I want the thumbnail to be 333 pixels wide. So I type that in, 333 pixels, and it automatically adjusted the height accordingly. And also notice that the file size is much smaller. Before it was about 8.7 megabytes, and now it's about 300 kilobytes. Much smaller. This will be very good for a website because it'll load faster, because it's a smaller file size, and it's better on the bandwidth. Sweet. Okay, so if I want to do that, I click OK. It looks small, but that's just because I'm viewing it at 25%. If I view it at full 100%, there's the actual image. And it's the perfect size for my website. Okay, so now I have to save this as well. So I would do a file, save as, and I would just put it as 30A small. That's my naming style. Save it, accept the options, and there you go. Now I have the original, which has been cropped, and I've made a thumbnail version, which has also been cropped. I hope this helped show you how to crop images and how to resize them to smaller sizes so that it's easier to electronically send them to people, either like through email or posting onto a website. Okay, I hope this was helpful.